Well, we'll start with Kilpatrick's team as UC got back on track with another strong defensive performance against Houston on Saturday. It was a good game for most of the way, back and forth until late in the second half when UC started really moving the ball, attacking the basket. It was also another good game for one of the unsung Bearcats. Shaq Thomas scored 11 big points in the win over Louisville late last month, and he had 11 more in Saturday's win over the Cougs. That's right about what his team expects.
Shaq is the guy, again, I talk about a guy that could be a consistent 12, 13, 14 a game guy for us. That's what we need. I think it's pretty obvious.
So I'm really on him a lot and really being the older brother towards him, especially me and Jack, because we know that what he's capable of. So we're just on him as much as we can because we know what he can do.
I know the last couple of games I've been struggling and stuff, so all week I just been in the gym and just getting up shots and just basically getting up shots and just working on my game. So I know I had to come out and redeem myself.
Xavier was not as fortunate yesterday. They missed out on an opportunity for a third straight win and a season sweep of Marquette. They made a run late, getting within 4 points with a little more than 2 minutes to go, but the hole they dug was too big to get all the way out. Marquette shot 9 of 18 from three-point range, and despite Xavier's 50% shooting from the field, that was too much to overcome. Justin Martin scored 20, hit a big three to make it a 4-point game late, but X got only 10 points from Samaje Kristen and lost by 9 in Milwaukee. It was their 5th loss in Big East play. Take a look now at some of the good and the bad on the Muskies over the last few weeks. They are 2-4 in Big East road games this season. They're only averaging 63 points per game during the month of February. On the good side, though, they are holding opponents below 50% shooting from the field, but Marquette was at 50 from long range. That was a big difference on Saturday. Big week ahead for both UC and X. Cats will travel to UCF on Wednesday and return home to host Louisville on Saturday at noon. That game can be seen right here on Local 12. Musketeers will welcome DePaul to Cintas on Wednesday night before heading off to Georgetown to play the Hoyas on Saturday morning. Arguably, you'll recall X's best win of the season came against the Hoyas last month when they rallied from a big deficit to steal that victory. A former ex-sharpshooter, Brad Redford, tough one for your Musketeers yesterday. Defensively, they allowed 50% shooting from the three-point line. That's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, it was a tough one. They got off to a bad start. Didn't do a good job of guarding the perimeter. Also, 19 turnovers, which turned into 28 points for Marquette. You're not going to get wins on the road or at home playing that way.
But, Brad, they did shoot it well from the perimeter themselves. Let's take a look here. We've got one of these plays from yesterday's game.
They did. Brandon Randolph with the ball here. He's going to make a quick swing over to Steinberg, who's going to get the ball over to Miles Davis here. Marquette is known for playing tough man-to-man defense. They do a pretty nice job here. When you're playing offense, you want the ball close to the three-point line. Marquette actually pushes them up about 5 feet across the line, but sometimes when you're playing the game, good offense is going to beat good defense. Miles Davis has plenty of room coming off this screen from Matt Steinberg. Todd Mayo, he went under the ball screen. That's plenty of room for a good shooter. Miles going to knock that one down. He had some key shots yesterday to keep Xavier in the game. And
here's what we're talking about, that field goal percentage defense, 50% from the three-point line for the Golden Eagles yesterday. If they're going to do that at home, that's a tough thing to try to win on the road.
Yeah, no question. Marquette, you're playing in front of 18,000 screaming fans that want to get at your neck. Couldn't make it happen yesterday.
Take a look at this play here. It's a classic example of the three-point defense.
Ball screen right here. Jake Thomas shot the ball really well yesterday, had a career-high 18 points. Jamel Wilson's going to set a ball screen. Isaiah needs to get out on the perimeter quicker, and J-Mart, when he attacks this ball screen on defense, he has to get his hands up and keep his legs toward the sideline for a little bit and make the pass tough. It's just simply too easy right here. Isaiah's a little late on the screen. Justin, you're going to see here, doesn't really do a good job of making a tough pass, and it's going to be an easy shot for Wilson in the corner. Knocked down 3. That put them up 13 with just 9 minutes to play.
9 for 18 from downtown. That was a big reason for the Golden Eagle victory. Big reason for the UC victory, the way they moved the basketball and attacked the basket in the second half. Here's an example of it.
Yeah, and they're playing well. Game plan for UC all year. Keep the game close. Let Sean Kilpatrick take over at the end. He did it again yesterday.
He did.
Right here we're going G-line Gwynn. Quick swing over to Shaq Thomas. Now our defender from Houston who's trying to guard Shaq, that's a long distance to make up. Shaq takes advantage of it. He's going to get to the middle of the lane. To Sean Thomas, who's guarding Titus Rubles, he's got to make a play on the ball. He tries, but he pretty much makes a LeBron James flop right here. You are not going to get this call. Shaq to Rubles, quick dunk. Cincinnati up 1 early on in the second half.
2 dunks for Justin Jackson in the second half. This one really tilted momentum in the favor of UC. He just dropped a sledgehammer on this one.
He sure did. Sean Kilpatrick, a guy who demands a lot of attention. Justin Jackson going to set the ball screen right here. Both of our Houston defenders, who are they going with? No, none of these guys are looking at Justin Jackson. Our guy right here needs to slide over with Mr. Jackson. He doesn't do that. Sean Kilpatrick's going to make a nice play, not just a score. The guy's a facilitator as well, and we'll see that here in the next play.
Brad, that's why it's so important to have those second and even third options on a team, so when all eyes are focused on Sean, he can do something else with it. Trust his teammates. We see another example of it here.
And the guy does it again here. You want this guy playing as many years as you possibly can in a Bearcat uniform if you're a Cincinnati fan. Titus Rubles is setting a flat screen for Kilpatrick right here. When you have the ball on a flat screen, you want to try and get as close to the basket as you can and draw as many defenders as possible. Who are we watching? We're watching Dillon Gwynn's defenders here on the left wing. He doesn't do a good job of playing both. He's going to commit too much to Sean Kilpatrick. And all Dillon Gwynn's doing over here, you don't get this open playing horse in your backyard. He's going to have plenty of time to tee this one up, and our defender doesn't get there in time. Dillon Gwynn, big-time three. He's been making some big shots for the Bearcats here, especially of late.
So UC will be at UCF on Wednesday. Then they'll host Louisville on Saturday. We'll have fun drawing that one up next week, I'm sure. Xavier goes to Georgetown this week. Not easy. You concerned about your former Muskies?
No, not yet. In the Big East Conference, you're playing a ton of talented teams night after night. They're going to have DePaul at home on Wednesday. Hopefully that one's going to be a confidence boost. They'll be ready to go at Georgetown on Saturday.
Now, before we let you go, we do have to show you something else here tonight. Let's see what happened at the Xavier game from last week. Oh, look at this. From half court, what do we have here? We got a guy named Redford entertaining the fans. How do you draw that up?
You know what?
How do you draw that up?
You don't draw it up. You don't practice it.
You just drain it.
Yeah, you just drain it. And I was asked a couple times if this put me in legendary or iconic status. I said legendary.
How good did that feel, though, to make those 10,000 go nuts again?
It did feel good to knock it down because one time I actually airballed that one in a previous game, and I did get booed by a few fans in the audience, so it felt good to kind of get at him in this one.
Nice shot. He still got it. Brad Redford, thanks so much.
Thank you.
NKU taking on the A-Sun leader from Mercer, and the leaders played like it. 89-67 win over the Norse, who were led by Tyler White, 16 points. NKU drops to 4-11 in conference play this season. Austin Dillon took the number 3 stock car out for a spin at Daytona today, and what a ride it was. The Sprint Cup rookie was given the old number made famous by Dale Earnhardt, and Dillon made everyone proud by grabbing the pole for next weekend's Daytona 500. Dillon drove the number 3 for Richard Childress Racing for a qualifying lap best speed of a little more than 196 miles per hour. Childress previously refused to let any of his drivers hop into that number 3 car because of how he felt about the late Dale Sr., who won 6 season championships and the 1998 Daytona 500. But Dillon is Childress's grandson and wanted him to make a Sprint Cup debut by debuting in the old number 3. That's a good debut. After losing by 1 shot 2 weeks ago in Phoenix, Bubba Watson once again found himself in the mix on the final day of the Northern Trust Open. 41 tournaments since his last victory at the 2012 Masters. Watson trailed William McGirt by 4 shots entering today's final round. Bubba got himself a new set of irons recently, and those paid off today in spades. Riviera Country Club, the 4th PGA Tour stop in California in 5 weeks. Here's Watson on 8 for birdie and grabs the outright lead, 13 under par. A 30 on the card for Watson at the turn. Shot of the day from former Master champ Charles Schwartzel on 14. Out of the bunker into the cup it goes for the South African. He was 5th at 11 under. On 15, Dustin Johnson made a run. Short birdie is good. Bogey-free Sunday put DJ in the mix, 13 under par. And on the 72nd and final hole, Bubba's chance to end this winless drought of nearly 2 years with a par. But how about that for a long birdie in a second consecutive round of 64? Emotional moment at the end with his son and his wife.